Assalamualaikum Ustaz, and to all our viewers that have tuned in to watch our episode today. We are back with yet another episode of Bits of Pods, and this time in a much more different settings compared to the last time, Ustaz. So
Yeah.
yeah, now we are currently in the month of Ramadan, right? So before we move on with the show, I have to ask you, how is your Ramadan going, Ustaz?
MashaAllah. I think one word, so fast. Time is moving so fast. Now it's already 20th here. So, wow.
Yeah. Before we realize, like in the blink of an eye, we are reaching the end of Ramadan already. And I hope, like our viewers that have tuned in today, they are having a blessed and productive Ramadan so far. And so, Ustaz, let me ask you this, because currently I'm overseas, right? So I've heard that recently Singapore got this new rule of taking off your mask outdoors.
Yeah.
So I must ask you, have you been enjoying that feeling
You
of
know, I think for the first few days, macam awkward sikit, okay? A bit awkward, But I think when the rules started to come up, I think people are still confused. When should I wear my mask and where should I open my mask? So I think, even myself, am I supposed to wear the mask now or not? So okay lah. Then after a few weeks, everything is like kind of normal. So especially during the nights, I don't wear mask lah outside. Yeah, but during the day, I think if there's a lot of crowd, then I think a lot of people are still wearing their mask now. It's already part of their life already.
Yeah. I think it's become something very normal. But then again, the reason for me to ask you that was because the mask thing is usually outdoors kind. So right now, I've been watching a lot of videos, advertisements, whatever you can call it, that a lot of shops, bazaar, and all these things have been opening up. So have you been visiting anything so far?
Actually, yes, I just visited the bazaar, I think last 2 nights. Okay, funny enough, this Ramadan, I'm actually working at Gilang almost every day. Yeah,
Inshallah.
because I am currently helping out Darul Arkam as an amil lah, as a person who collects the zakat. So yeah, every day I'm Geylang, but only last 2 nights I finally get the chance to enter into the bazaar because the queue is so long. You need to literally queue. You need to literally queue in order to enter the bazaar.
I can imagine. I've been looking at the videos. It's crazy, the long queues and everything. And I've heard that sometimes you need to wait like half an hour to 45
Yeah,
for your food.
yeah, half an hour, 2 hour. But I think now because they already expanded another a few shops. I think in front of Tanjung Katong complex. So yeah, there's a lot of shops lah as compared to the first week of Ramadan. But I don't think the vibe is there. But I think starting from today, maybe onwards, the last 10 days, there will be a lot of people. But in the previous weeks, there was a lot of people during iftar. But after iftar, I think not so many lah.
Funny enough, you mentioned about the last 10 days. So, today's topic that we're going to discuss is actually about the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And as much as I was saying, like the bazaar has opened, the shops, like many different kinds of shops selling raya clothing and decorations. I think the mosques also in Singapore, they have somehow like upgraded themselves. Like a lot of prayer spaces have been allocated for brothers and sisters to perform their ibadah, as well as I think like the mosques are coming up with more and more activities so that our brothers and sisters can keep themselves engaged during this Ramadan. What's your views on that, Ustaz?
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ba'd. Yeah, so Alhamdulillah, I think everybody's excited. I think for two reasons. Number one, Raya is coming, okay, and second of all, we are 10 days away from Raya, so the last 10 nights and days of Ramadan are what we call as the jackpot of Ramadan. So the jackpot of Ramadan. Usually we are really high spirited when we start off Ramadan. Get the first few days, we are okay. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, but as time goes by, maybe our ibadah or maybe some of the things that we want to do might lessen. Okay, but as a Muslim, as a believer who believes in the benefits of the last 10 days and last 10 nights of Ramadan, okay, I think the mindset should be the more closer to the end, okay, the greater our good deeds are, okay, in quantity, in quality, okay, and I think we have this mindset of trying our best every single hour, every single minute, if it's possible, to actually gain some reward from anything that we do in these last 10 days and last 10 nights of Ramadan. Yeah, so it is something that is so beautiful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given us this the last few days and nights of Ramadan as a place for us to beg for His mercy and His forgiveness to attain the highest level of paradise. In fact, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha said that when the last 10 nights come, or when the last 10 nights of Ramadan arrives, okay, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he actually woke up during the night, and he, as we said, bring out the spirit of ibadah and the spirit of doing good deeds during the night. Because when we are at the night, we are sleeping. Again, we are trying to gain some energy and wake up during sahur. So the last 10 nights is something that we spend most of our nights performing some form of ibadah according to our capabilities. Yeah.
Mashallah, well said, Ustaz. Okay, talking about the Ustaz, since you mentioned about prayers and all these things in the last 10 nights, we will move to this segment of ours for today's show, which is where we are going to tackle the common questions that have been asked by many people. It always happens during the month of Ramadan, especially in the last 10 nights. People tend to, they always have these kind of questions. So we're going to try and tackle those questions, but it will be a very short and sweet segment, I would say. So basically, you start in this segment, you will have 90 seconds to answer a few questions that we have come up with that I think the general public might also want to know. But don't worry, it's a challenge for you. But at the same time, don't worry if you happen to exceed the 90 seconds. We just want to get the proper information and convey it to our others as well. So, for the first question that I have for you, so usually we are busy with our worldly affairs, day to day, whatever we do outside. I want to ask you, what are the benefits of the last 10 nights? And in the last 10 nights, we mentioned this term called Lailatul Qadr, right? So when is Lailatul Qadr actually? Is it on the 27th, or is there a different time for it?
Okay, so Bismillah, 90 seconds. Okay. So basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had chosen a few days, a few months, some periods of the calendar as a specific time period for His servants, for us Muslims to maximize and for us to gain His contentment as well as forgiveness. So the last 10 nights of Ramadan are actually one of the gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to us in Ramadan. Okay, so it is something that we celebrate by maximizing our nights, okay, by performing lots and lots of ibadah. So as we know, during the last 10 nights, okay, most of us, besides performing our Salat Tarawih, okay, at the end of the night, or maybe in the 2/3 of the night, we will perform our Tahajjud prayers, or what we call as our night prayers, okay, where we wake up from our beds, okay, to pray a few rak'ats to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as Brother Wabi had mentioned, searching for Lailatul Qadr. Okay, so Lailatul Qadr, as everybody knows, I think, okay, as mentioned in in the Quran, in Surah Al-Qadr, Allah says, Khairul min alfi shahr, correct? That Lailatul Qadr is better than 1,000 nights. Okay, so Lailatul Qadr is hidden, okay, it's purposefully hidden by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so we don't know exactly when it is, we cannot pinpoint. Okay, that's number one. Number two, what the Prophet ﷺ did told us is that we should actually search for it during the odd days. Okay, also during the odd nights. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith, he said that Tahayyarul, search, okay, go and maximize your time and search for Lailatul Qadr during these odd nights, okay, 21, 23, 24, 35, 27, and so on and so forth. And that's why, some scholars, actually the idea of 27, and Brother Wabi mentioned, is it true that 27 is Lailatul Qadr? Well, a lot of scholars and a lot of the Sahaba, okay, there's a few Sahabas who actually hold the opinion that 27 is actually, there's a high chance or high percentage that Lailatul Qadr can happen on the 27th. Yeah, but again, we cannot be 100% sure. We cannot say, oh, tonight is the Qadar. Again, okay, so we can have some form of assurance, maybe, oh, we see, we feel this ambience, we see some signs, maybe, oh, maybe this is the Qadar. But again, we hope that the night, inshallah, during this last 10 minutes, the night that we actually perform our ibadah, we really hope that that night is the Qadar, inshallah.
Inshallah. I think
MashaAllah.
we, like you said, like it's not just that one night that we should be looking for. We should be devoting ourselves to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. I think literally on every day of the year, and especially in the last 10 nights, yes, we work even harder to please Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and inshallah we will be able to attain the benefits of Lailatul Qadr.
Ameen. Right. Okay, Ustaz. Next question. Are you ready?
Ready,
Right.
yeah. You don't do anything after this, after 90 seconds.
We will reward inshallah ta'ala.
Oh, inshallah. Amin.
Ameen. Okay. So, so for some of us, right, who work at night, who has morning or night shift, okay, they might want to rest at home. They might feel tired, especially, or if they were to work at night, they couldn't do any how can I say any Qiyamul Lail or any Tarawih. So if do they still, how can I say, they can they still benefit the last 10 nights even though they cannot do this ibadah, or they don't have the willpower or the energy to do or to stay up at night during these last 10 days? So can we say that working is also an ibadah, Ustaz?
Okay, so there's two ways to answer this. I think the first one is about working. The second one is about time. So about working, at the first place, when you go out to work during the day, and you are fasting. So again, when you are fasting, you are already receiving reward for your fasting, and you are patient and you are strong enough, facing all of the obstacles that you face in work. Okay, when you are fasting, and remember, when we fast, we need to be a bit more patient as compared to when we are not fasting. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when we are going out to work, obviously our intention is number one to support our family, correct? To bring back nafkah to our family members, to ourselves, to the ones that we love. Okay, so we are actually fulfilling an amanah and an ibadah. Actually, it is an ibadah. Why? Because we are fulfilling our duty and our responsibility and our obligation as a member of the family, okay, to work and to provide for the family. So that is in fact an ibadah itself. So yes, we can say that working is an ibadah if you intend it to be an ibadah. Meaning you intend when you go out to work that I am going out to work to provide for my family, to fulfill the responsibility that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given to me as a member of the family. Okay, that's number one regarding work. Now the second one is regarding time. So we mentioned that it is the last 10 nights. So most of the benefit will be present during the night. So again, it begs the question. Now, what about, I am working shifts, or maybe I'm tired and I work maybe long hours, so I'm not able to perform tarawih or night prayers. Now, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people, find it problematic with, spending some time to do ibadah is that people always look at quantity. Yeah, people always think that, we must perform 8 rakaat of tarawih, 8 rakaat of tahajjud, must spend at least an hour or 2 hours of, reciting the Quran and whatnot. But in fact, actually, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So remember, the night, according to Islam, starts from after Maghrib. Okay, so literally the night starts after you break your fast. Okay, after you break your fast until Fajr, until dawn, until Subuh. Okay, so within that few hours that you are, when you are awakened, okay, before you go to sleep, again, you can actually maximize it by doing a couple of things. Okay, if you are not able to pray tarawih at the mosque, try to pray tarawih at your house. If you are tired and you're unable to pray tarawih at your house, try to, so after your Isha prayers, okay, try to at least do 2 rakats. And remember, it's all about quantity. Don't go and compete yourself with other people. Okay, you do you. Again, Allah Azza wa Jalla is looking at you. If you are sincere, even if you're performing 2 rakat, okay, 2 rakats, and you are sincere enough, and you bring the quality of ibadah, and you are showing to Allah, oh Allah, I'm tired, I'm not able to fully maximize by doing huge numbers of rakat, but this is what I can do, and I want to do it for you. Okay, inshallah, with that amount of sincerity, Allah Azza wa Jalla will actually bless your good deed. Okay, and maybe your sincerity, and because of your tiredness, okay, is much more beloved to Allah than a person who maybe spends a few hours praying 50 or 100 rakats. Okay, besides maybe 2 rakats of prayers, what you can do also, which I can advise, is that before, when you wake up for sahur, okay, maybe around 5 o'clock or so, 45 minutes before sahur or 30 minutes before sahur, you can try to wake up 10 minutes early or 15 minutes early, maybe 5 o'clock is nice. Okay, since Azan is 5:40, so you spend 15 minutes or 10 minutes, just 15 or 10 minutes. You can pray also 2 rakat. If you are able to pray after Isha, okay, you can try to sleep early. Then you wake up 10 minutes or 15 minutes before sahur. You can try to perform 2 rakats of prayer. It's okay. Don't compete with other people. You don't need to perform 8 or 10 or 12 or 50 or 100. As long as you are sincere, as long as you want, you have the one to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to at least get a portion of, Laylatul Qadr, that is already fine. Because again, the Prophet said, Man qama Laylatul Qadri iman wa ihtisaba. Whoever stands during the night, can stand here meaning standing in prayer, waking up, performing ibadah. You can iman wa ihtisaba. Okay, with full iman and full hope. Okay, with hope and iman that Allah will accept and bless and forgive him during that night. Okay, especially if it's Laylatul Qadr. Okay, all of his previous sins will be forgiven. So if you can't pray after Isha, pray before sahur, 15 minutes. If you cannot pray before sahur, you are too tired or long hours, the least that you can do is you can do 2 things. Number 1, dua. Okay, we can recite the famous dua, Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. The Prophet ﷺ regularly recites this during the last 10 nights. And number 2, you can dua. In general, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his forgiveness. Okay, you can spend like 10 minutes of just asking Allah, of just letting out everything, okay, wanting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you, with the intention that I hope that this dua, this ibadah itself, okay, happens during Laylatul Qadr tonight. Even though I only spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes, inshallah, Khairul min alfi shahr. It's better than 1,000 minutes.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah, what a beautiful answer, Ustaz. Yes, MashaAllah. So for those who are watching and listening to this, just as what Ustaz has mentioned, is the intention that is the most important thing. So if you cannot commit to any ibadah, at least you have the intention of doing it, and therefore you'll be rewarded for that intention. And at the same time, MashaAllah, Ustaz also mentions about it's the quality and not the quantity, right? And that is, I believe, is a very important point, right? Some people they thought that if they were to do 20 rakats of Tarawih, they will be rewarded more. But it's not about how many rakats you do; it's more of the quality, the how can I say, the sincerity of doing the ibadah and at that moment, yeah. And at the same time, it's also about time management. There will always be time, and just as how I think Ustaz have mentioned about, we can actually start off at 5 a.m. and we can do 15 minutes of ibadah, and that with putting in sincerity and the best of quality in that 15 minutes, we can actually achieve more rewards than someone who actually solat 20 rakats or more, so more. So, MashaAllah, Ustaz, thank you so much, Jazakallah Khair, for the answers. And let's move on to the next question.
Okay, Ustaz. So the next question that I have for you, okay, it's related to what you said also, but then it's more of like a lot of people have work, school, commitments to attend to, right? So for these people, what is your advice to them as to how can they maximize the last 10 nights most easily but yet effectively?
Okay, 3 things. Number 1, Quran. Number 2, istighfar. Number 3, dua. So Quran, try best to at least spend a few minutes. Okay, if you are schooling right now, okay, when you are going back to school, when you are going back to home, or you're going to school, okay, rather than scrolling through TikTok or whatnot, again, it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's very addicting, but since it's Ramadan and maybe during the day you are fasting, okay, try your best. At least if you are taking the MRT, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, just read through the Quran. Okay, if you are able to read the Quran itself, then spend like a few minutes reading 1 or 2 pages. Okay, if you are still learning, okay, spend your time to read some of the surahs that you have learned. Okay, the Tripul or some of the surahs in the last part of the Quran. It's fine, just read it. Okay, at least you have spent a portion of your time reading the Quran, meaning you have spent some time with the Quran this Ramadan. So that's number 1. Because again, Ramadan and the Quran cannot be separated. Okay, the Quran is revealed in Ramadan, and Ramadan is a special month of the Quran. So at least we have done our part by spending some time, or giving some minutes and hours for the Quran during this last few days. Okay, that's number two is istighfar, because the main point of Ramadan is to not just maximize the number of ibadah that we can do, but also forgiveness. Correct? We want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. And again, the hadith, and man sama Ramadan, whoever fasts during Ramadan with full iman and with full hope, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all of his previous sins. So that's what we want, forgiveness. We are an unjust servant to Allah. Okay, we have commit a lot of mistakes. So what we can do is istighfar. And istighfar, astaghfirullah al-azim, suffices. You can spend, I think, less than 5 minutes, 100 times astaghfirullah al-azim. Okay, what you can do, since maybe you are schooling or working, the best time to do it, maybe you can do after salat. So maybe after salat, okay, after you perform your zikr, spend some time to just say astaghfirullah al-azim 100 times. Okay, with the hope, with niyat that, oh Allah, please do forgive me. I want to get Ramadan just like a baby, and free of sin. Okay, so istighfar during the night, during the day as well. Okay, so before you go to bed, istighfar. Okay, and since you are lying down again, rather than scrolling to FYPs and TikToks, okay, put your phone down. Okay, just close your eyes and say astaghfirullah al-azim. Okay, and then I think this is something that the scholars do advise, is to do muhasabah, correct? These last 10 nights. And remember, muhasabah is also an ibadah. Think back of all the things you have done. You have committed the sins you have committed to Allah, the sins you have committed to other people. Okay, seek forgiveness and apology to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last one is dua. Dua is very important. Again, this is the time for you to ask Allah anything. Okay, this is the time for you to express every single thing that is inside you. Okay, get close to Allah by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is opening his doors. It's opening his doors to answer all of your dua. So you are fasting, the dua of a person who's fasting is accepted. Okay, and during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, it is a very blessed, it is a blessed night. Again, so spend your nights by asking Allah, oh Allah, forgive me, oh Allah, accept my deeds, oh Allah, ask everything that you want. Ask and you shall receive, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you, Ustaz, for that beautiful answer. So I guess our viewers can relate to this. Ustaz mentioned 3 important things. One is the Quran. Secondly is your istighfar. And lastly is your dua. So I guess that for those of you out there that have been struggling to find that little time that you have been unable to devote it because you're busy with your commitments, I think this is the time maybe you can take out a little bit of time. I guess like maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day. And inshallah, our sacrifices and our deeds are being accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. Okay. MashaAllah. Astaghfirullah. So, okay, next question. Yes, next question. So, I believe some of our viewers here would love to know what is actually night ibadah. What is Qiyamul Lail? Do we need to sleep first, then is considered as Qiyamul Lail, or actually doesn't matter? You can just start after Maghrib. So, maybe Ustaz, can you actually enlighten us, like what is Qiyamul Lail?
Okay. All right. So, Bismillah. Qiyamul Lail. So we have 3 terms here, kan? Tahajjud, Qiyamul Lail, and Tarawih. These are the 3 terms that we usually interchangeably use this Ramadan. Okay. So actually, all these 3 are the same. Meaning you are praying during the night. That's basically it. You are praying, okay, but performing your salat sunnah during the night. The only difference is time and how you do it. So for Tarawih, you are performing your night prayers exactly after Isha, correct? So it's actually what we call as an early rendition of the night prayers. We usually salat our night prayers maybe around late at night, correct? The 2/3 of the night or maybe the last part of the night. But for Ramadan, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ legislated that the night prayers are pushed forward after Isha. So when you are performing Tarawih, you are actually performing your night prayers. Okay, the only difference is that you're performing it earlier than the normal time. So then we have Qiyamul Lail. So again, the word Qiyamul Lail literally means you reliving the night itself. Again, you rejuvenating the night by standing in prayer, by basically keeping the night alive. That's how we can say it, keeping the night alive. Okay, the night is still young, so we spend the time in the night to really, engage in good deeds, engage in performing good deeds. So Qiyamul Lail is basically that. Okay, so if you read the Quran 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., you have already basically done Qiyamul Lail. You have already done, meaning you have already performed an act of worship during the night. You are spending the night by engaging yourself in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, we have tahajjud. So again, tahajjud is also night prayers. Is the same as tarawih. The only difference is that tahajjud is done late at night, probably 2/3 of the night, or maybe the last part of the night. Okay, now must we sleep first or not? Okay, some scholars do say that no, it is not a condition. Meaning, if you don't sleep, your salat will not be accepted. No, it is only a matter of technical difference lah. If you do sleep and then you wake up, it's not called Qiyamul Lail, it's called tahajjud. Okay, but when you do not sleep, you continue worshipping Allah during the night, meaning 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Okay, you are reading the Quran or something. Since you're not sleeping, so you are literally standing up during the night. Correct? So you don't sleep, you are standing, you are awake during the night. So therefore, it's called Qiyamul Lail. Yeah, so all three are referring to the same thing, either performing your sunat prayers during the night, either early on, like Tarawih, or maybe a bit late, like Tahajjud, or maybe spending the entire night or more than half of the night standing and performing good deeds for Allah, and thus you are performing your Qiyamul Lail. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
MashaAllah, what a beautiful answer from Ustaz. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I hope that those who are watching, you are more enlightened and more clear on what is Qiyamul Lail, or what is Tarawih, and what is Tahajjud, as mentioned by Ustaz. Right, so without further ado, let's move on to the next question.
So this is the not the final question for the podcast, but the final question for this segment that I will ask you is that many people have this they have this idea that that you must finish your night with their prayers, right? So for example, if someone goes to the mosque and the imam has already led the witr prayers, so is it a must to end the night with the witr prayers, or what should be done if that person has already prayed behind the imam?
Okay, so there's two scenarios here. Number one, you are praying the imam at the mosque, and the imam is going to pray witr, and you have a plan to pray witr later on. Or number two, you are praying by yourself or with your family members, and you know that you're going to pray witr later, so you pray witr now. So must I repeat witr again? Okay, so let's go to the first scenario first. You are at the mosque and the imam is praying witr. You're not sure. Should I pray witr with the imam, or should I postpone it later? Okay, now before that, can we pray witr twice? The answer is no. Okay, we can only do one witr. What's the function of witr? The function of Salatul Witr is to actually end the Ibadah of the night. Okay, so that's why that's the function of witr itself. We perform Salatul Witr as a sign that we are wrapping up our Ibadah for tonight. And that's why the word witr itself means odd. And so you salat 3 rakaat or minimum 1 rakaat. Okay, so that 1 rakaat or 3 rakaat, the odd number rakaat, is to basically wrap up your night. Okay, so the Prophet said, La witrani fil layl, kama qala, there's no two witr during the night, there's only one. Okay, so back to the scenario. Now you're at the mosque, the imam is performing the tarawih, you finish your tarawih, then he's performing witr. So you have only one witr. You need to choose. Should I wait? Should I go with the imam, or should I postpone it later during Qiyam? Okay, if you ask me, personally, the best answer is to just follow the imam. Why is this so? Because there is a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, that whoever stands with the imam until he finishes, okay, until he finishes, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write for him, okay, the reward of a person who stands the entire night. So basically, do Qiyamul Lail for the entire night, the reward of that. Okay, so yes, you might perform your witr now with the imam, it's fine, okay, but the reward here is much bigger because you are staying with the imam until the end. So you're ending with the imam, so inshallah you will get the reward of standing the whole night. Okay, so what about later? Let's say, I know because I got some of my friends who they don't want to perform their witr during Tarawih. Why? Because they have already chosen a mosque to do Qiyam, and they like the imam because the imam's kunut witr, okay, the kunut recitation during witr is so awesome. Okay, even myself, okay, I there are some imams who, mashallah, their kunut is really power. Okay, just like Masjid Nabawi, Masjid Haram. Okay, so 10 minutes or 15 minutes of kunut. Okay, so some of them really like to do that. So they say, but if I pray witr now, I cannot pray witr later. So the answer is, okay, if you want the kunut, okay, if you want the kunut so much, okay, what you can do is that this is actually a life hack or an ibadah hack. What you can do is actually, since you already perform your witr, okay, what you can do is you just intend 2 rakats of the tahajjud prayers. Okay, just intend. Okay, because again, in our Sharia, it is accepted for you to intend something else and the Imam intends something else. Meaning, if the Imam is praying witr, you can join him, okay, by intending something else. Maybe you want to perform your Isha. Okay, this is something that happens in the mosque. The Imam is praying Tarawih, the person or the congregant is late, they haven't performed his Isha, so he entered as an Isha congregant, not as a Tarawih congregant. Okay, so similarly, if the Imam is praying witr, you can just continue praying 2 rakats of tahajjud. Now, 1 rakat. Okay, now after 1 rakat, after he finishes his qunut, okay, after the Imam gives the salam, then you do what a masbuk person should do. Okay, finish off the 2nd rakat as per usual. Yeah, and that's why sometimes, okay, I think those who do Qiyam will notice that some people after the 1 rakat, okay, some people will stand. Correct? Okay, some jama'ah, after the Imam gives the salam, they actually stand up. And then why the person stand? Yeah, so maybe he had already done his witr prayers before this. Since he wants to continue with the Imam, he just intends himself to pray 2 rakats of tahajjud prayers and continue. So after the Imam gives the salam, after the 1 rakat, you continue by finishing up your 2nd rakat. Yeah, that's one so-called life hack you can do in order to gain both rewards. If let's say you already performed your witr with the Imam.
MashaAllah, a very beneficial knowledge. I think even for myself, because sometimes when I'm at the masjid, I'll be honest with you that when I pray behind the Imam, I'm always in 2 minds contemplating, should I continue behind the Imam to gain the rewards for the whole night as you mentioned, or should I just stop my prayers here, go back home, take rest, and then maybe I will wake up again to pray and then conclude the night with my own witr prayers. But thank you so much for sharing that information with us, Ustaz. I will keep in mind, and I hope that our viewers will also be able to gain some benefit out of it, inshallah. Okay, I think that is all for this segment. But Ustaz, we still have a lot more questions for you. So we will continue with our second segment. So yeah, I will pass it over to Hafiz to ask you a few more questions in the second segment of this podcast, but it will be related to Zakat and Fitrah, inshallah.
So round 2, Did I pass round 1?
You flying colors, yeah.
Inshallah.
Right, okay, Bismillah. So let's move on to our second segment, inshallah ta'ala, which is related to zakat, where I believe is obligatory to every Muslim, right? To every families, they need to give zakat. So first and foremost, let's start with the first question here. Right, so I'm married, but I stay with my parents. So must I pay for them? So do I need to pay for my parents? So in zakat, so what is your thoughts?
Okay, so if you stay with your parents and your parents have not paid yet, you can pay for them. Not that you must, because sometimes they pay for themselves and you do not know. Okay, so this is the tip. If you have your family members, try to inform each other if any of you are paying for on behalf of the other. Just to be careful or be cautious that you think that your son or your parents might pay for you, but they have not. Okay, so it's best to communicate first and ask, okay, have they paid or have you paid? If not, then you can do it on your behalf. So it's not a must, okay, but let's say if your parents aren't able to go down to any zakat counter or don't understand how to do pay now, Zakat Fitra, you can do it for them. Okay, actually, since I'm an Amil, so I have this very interesting experience to share. Okay, just for a while. Okay, I take a few seconds. Can I cheat?
This one is a time segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I take the lifeline. Okay, so basically, when I was working as an Amil, one of the most interesting and quite bizarre questions that we get from Zakat Fitra is that there's this person who sincerely asks, mashallah, very sincere. Okay, so he asked, okay, I'm paying for my son and my family members. So he asked, so must I pay for my cat as well? Okay, so I was like, oh, okay, this is the first time somebody asked me, is Zakat Fitra wajib for my pet? Okay, for my cat or for my dog. Sorry, not dog haram. Okay, so for my cat or for my whatever pet we have. Okay, so we say, of course, it is not wajib. Okay, Zakat Fitra is only obligatory for human beings. Okay, and so you do not need to pay Zakat Fitra for your cat. If you have multiple cats, 17 cats, you don't need to pay for your 17 cats. Okay, you only pay for your parents or for yourselves or for your siblings and your children. Okay, another one also, which is something that is also related to this, okay, paying for a family, is that paying for my baby. So let's say, I think it was last week, somebody asked me, or there's a customer who said, my wife is currently pregnant right now. So should I pay Zakat Fitra for my child who has not been born yet? So the answer is no, you do not need to. Unless, now this is very interesting, unless your baby is going to be born on the night of Idul Fitri. So let's say your wife gives birth to your child half an hour before Azan Maghrib. Okay, half an hour before Azan Maghrib, then you need to pay for him. If he is born, let's say, after Azan Maghrib, meaning after Iftar, right? On the night of Shawwal, okay, let's say 5 minutes or 10 minutes after Azan, then your baby does not need to pay zakat. You need to pay for him. Why? Because one of the conditions for Zakat Fitra is that a person needs to experience or go through both Ramadan and Shawwal at the same time. Okay, so you need to go through at least a portion of Ramadan in order for you to pay Zakat Fitra. Okay, so if let's say your baby has not been born yet, again, it's going to be born later, maybe 2 months later, you don't need to pay for your baby because your baby has not yet been born yet. Okay, so yeah.
MashaAllah. Okay, that's a very fruitful information there. Thank you, Ustaz, so much. Okay, so moving on to our next question.
I think the next question that I have for you, Ustaz, is that we have this situation whereby we have been told that there are few prices for Zakat Fitra, right? So can you just quickly explain to us what is the reasoning behind these few prices and not just one standard price for everyone?
Okay, so I think the prices are just to differentiate between the two quality or the two types of rice that you use. Okay, the amount of rice. Maybe some people they use a cheaper rice. Okay, as compared to some family, maybe some of them use much more expensive rice. Okay, for their household. Okay, so it is just there to differentiate between which type of rice, or basically since rice is a staple food. Which is your family opting for the more cheaper rice or more expensive rice for your family? If you are going for the expensive one, then you should pay the expensive price for the Proza and for the media as well. Yeah, that's only the difference.
All right. Thank you, Ustaz. Thank you for that information. Okay, I will ask you one more question, Ustaz. Since we are the topic of Zakat Fitra, I don't know about you, but I've seen many people always rushing to pay Zakat Fitra on the day of Eid, just before the prayers. So, what would you say is the best time to do Zakat Fitra?
Okay, this is the first time I've heard this. No, I think I haven't seen for myself people rushing to pay Zakat Fitra before the Eid prayers. But actually, that's supposed to be the best time. Okay, maybe the time before you go your Eid prayers. But I know in Singapore, I think it's a bit hard unless you do it yourself manually. Okay, you go and buy rice and then give it to somebody. Okay, but if you go with organizations and mosques, usually, I don't think is the counter open. Is the counter
open in the morning? So people are rushing and then they are like, "Oh, can you open the masjid for me? Can you open the counter?"
Yes. Yeah. So the best time is actually during the night of Shawwal or during the dawn of Shawwal, meaning after Subuh. But again, I know some people they aren't able to do that. Again, time constraint and whatnot, especially the morning of Shawwal when you're rushing to go to the mosque to pray. Especially now, I think maybe we're going to book our slots later. Okay, so actually, there's no best time for you. You can do it at any point of time, but try to do it late. Okay, try to do it late. Don't do it early. Okay, but if I do it early on the first day of Ramadan, I already pay my Zakat Fitra. Is it accepted? Yes, it is accepted. Okay, Zakat Fitra is accepted because the condition for you to pay Zakat Fitra is when Ramadan starts. So first Ramadan, you can already pay. But of course, if you delay it later, it's good. Now, why? What's the wisdom behind it? Because again, the function of Zakat Fitra is to feed and provide for the poor and needy families who aren't able to celebrate Raya as some of us who are fortunate can. So we give them during Eid, okay, for them to celebrate, for them to cook their food, for them to enjoy, at least to have a fortunate and happy Hari Raya. That's the purpose of Zakat Fitra.
MashaAllah, Ustaz. Okay. And I think our viewers can take note of this. So if you're going to pay your Zakat Fitra, as Ustaz mentioned, the best time to do it is as late as possible. But please don't forget to do it.
Yes, because I have one customer actually who came and then she told me and my friend or my other friend, the other army, she said, I was procrastinating until I forgot to pay. So must I pay it this year? So the answer is yes. If you owe Zakat Fitra, last year's Zakat Fitra, okay, you procrastinate until you forgot, and then it's already Eid, and you forgot to pay during Eid or maybe after Eid, and then you remember now, okay, you need to pay back your Zakat Fitra. So you just count up last year's rate and then you pay it. Okay, because again, Zakat Fitra is the right of the needy people. So if you don't give them, we owe them something lah. So if you have already missed it last year, you need to basically call out your Zakat Fitra this year. Okay, so procrastinating is good, but don't procrastinate until you forget. Okay.
MashaAllah, Ustaz. Thank you for the answer. Okay, the next question that we have is regarding online payments. I will let Hafiz take over and ask you that question.
So, since we're living in a very modern world where now we have technologies, computers, and so on and so forth, so I believe Islam have also moved forward to doing online zakat instead right now. So for the convenience of the people. So now there's a question from the public where will our zakat be lesser as compared to when we are paying zakat face to face? Is there any difference between paying zakat online and paying zakat face to face? Yeah, what do you think, Ustaz?
Okay, do you pay zakat online? Do you pay zakat or you go to the mosque?
My father is the one who pays zakat.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, this is also one of the things that some of the members of our community actually say they actually prefer to do things physically. Okay, but of course we tell them that it's fine. Anybody who does zakat fitra payment online or even zakat harta online, okay, has the same reward as a person who goes there physically. There is no difference. Okay, as long as you fulfill your obligation, you are sincere, you are fulfilling all of the conditions needed for zakat fitra or for zakat harta, okay, then your zakat inshallah will be accepted by Allah. Okay, now why some people prefer physical? Because to them, they really want that presence. Okay, that presence of a person physically taking the money from you. Okay, and they reciting the niyat, and then there's like an ijab qabul saying I accept your zakat fitra. So that makes them content. Okay, I don't think they feel that they are superior, but they just feel content. But if you think that, I think for youngsters nowadays, I think they prefer online. Okay, just pay now, UEN, QR code, or AXS machine. Okay, and that's fine. Nothing is wrong as long as you have your niyat there when you're paying. Okay, that's fine. But I think most of this sentiment comes from our, older generation. Okay, and they always say, this is something that they do say to us. They really like, to hear the voice of an amin or an ustaz physically in front of them reciting the dua. Yeah, so they really want that barakah of the dua. I think that's the only thing that make them want to pay zakat physically. But as a from a religious point of view, or from a religious standpoint, it is both accepted. Okay, there are no differences between a person who performs or pays his zakat online or pays his zakat in the mosque physically. Okay, as long as you do it according to the conditions given, then inshallah Allah will reward you and accept your zakat payment.
MashaAllah. All right. So I hope those who are watching, you do realize that it's the same, and the most important thing is to fulfill this pillar of Islam, which is zakat, and so that's the most important thing. And So I believe these are all the questions that we would love to ask, that we already asked, and so
Did you have anything?
we a reward from Allah Subhanahu wa
Inshallah, inshallah.
Ta'ala.
I think that is all for our short question and answer session with Ustaz Khairul Zaman today. Jazakallah khair for joining us in
Al-Khair.
today's episode, Ustaz. And viewers can inshallah look forward to another episode coming out inshallah soon. For that will be our special inshallah. But in the meantime, whatever knowledge that you guys have gained from this episode, please pass it to your loved ones, because I think we have covered some very beneficial knowledge that needs to be addressed and shared with our loved ones, because sometimes people tend to neglect these small things during Ramadan, and it creates confusion for many people. So I think through this episode we will be able to reach out to the community, and inshallah those that have gained something out of this episode, it will be beneficial for you, and of course going forward in the future for the upcoming Ramadans, and this will be something that you can always apply to. Okay, Ustaz, so thank you once again for joining us
Thank
in
you.
today's episode. We won't be holding you back much longer, and inshallah we will be having another session soon, so we look forward to that. We wish our viewers a blessed Ramadan for the last 10 nights. And hopefully you guys are making sincere devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may all our prayers and sacrifices get accepted.
Amen. Amen.
Ameen.
On that note, we will be ending our session here today, Ustaz. And inshallah, we'll see you very soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.